Hey there, I'm Steve, and welcome to this very special, exclusive edition of this painting hangout. I am joined by two very special guests today. One of them is my usual very special guest, Callum, who's in the middle. You want to say hi, mate?
I'll say hi. Hello, I'm Callum. I'm very special. Thank you.
You said it,
Okay.
not, you said it, not me. And to his right is the one and only Chris Peach, otherwise known to most of you, I'm sure, as Peachy. Exactly. Hello. How
I'm
you doing?
also special. I'm great. I'm special too.
You're special.
You are
We're all
very-
special.
you are-
We're all special in our own ways.
Yeah, definitely. We're very lucky to have you. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah,
No,
cheers.
pleasure.
So,
I feel like we've done-
no, that's
We've
good. So,
special into the ground already.
yeah. So, as you may have gathered, we're here to paint some Cohors Cthulhu Tactics minis. We got on the Peachy phone and was like, do you want to
giant
paint
peach,
some
isn't it?
Romans? Yeah, exactly. It's like one of those banana phones, but a lot harder to hold. Yeah, we just like, do you want to paint some Romans, but they may have tentacles coming out of them. And you were like,
I'm
yeah, right.
told.
Yeah, exactly. So if you are watching this on YouTube, then this will be like a kind of like a short little taster. If you want to see the full thing, it is available to people who have backed our Cohors Cthulhu Tactics Kickstarter. The link is all around here somewhere. Go and check it out. It's a great fun game, and we're going to show you some of these minis. So, what are you guys up to? What are you doing?
I'm going to let Peachy take this because
Oh, God.
Peachy is the army painter.
This is
so-
true.
Well. I've got a unit of 5 here of these. What's it called again? I keep want to say Call of Cthulhu, but it's not. It's Cohorts.
No, that's someone else's idea. No, it's Cohors Cthulhu Tactics.
Tactics.
And these are Roman legionaries.
Yes.
Heroic Roman legionaries. So
They definitely do look heroic. I tell you
Who
that.
don't?
they are. They're
definitely
all
got a-
chins and muscles.
Chins and muscles, and some amazing looking calves as well.
I know, I'm jealous looking at them.
So they've definitely got a late Roman. I say late Roman, not like the fall of the Roman Empire, but certainly when the classic Roman look to them, which is my favourite look. If you've ever played like the Total War games and stuff like that, I always get the chainmail ones and the ones hardly wearing anything, a bit of leather armour and stuff. So having these is great. My plan is I'm going to do them in red. I've got some test models I did on some other figures, which I won't pull up because they're nothing to do with what you guys do. But
Okay.
I'm starting off with a flesh spray, dry brushing fleshes all over. So this is like a lighter flesh I'm now using. So it's like I'm currently using army painter stuff. So it's called Barbarian Flesh, which I think one of the fleshes you're using is similar to it. I forget.
Barbarian Brawn, please.
Barbarian Brawn is probably a similar tone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm working through just some flesh highlights. Going to go up to bone a bit, and then once I've done that, I'll pick out, because it might seem like quite wasteful at first. Like I'm just heavily dry brushing like fleshes all over these dudes. But once I start putting like things like the leather work on, so because I'll be using like speed paints, contrasts.
Yeah.
It's kind of pre-highlighted because I've got all those bony, fleshy, lighter tones dry brushed on it. And when I do the red on the robes, it looks really nice because the flesh tones kind of like add a nice highlight to it. So really, this initial spray it flesh, dry brush it up lighter fleshes to bone is kind of like the secret sauce, if you like, for getting everything highlighted without no effort. I mean, I can highlight after if I wanted to, but from a unit point of view, if you just want to get on the top, it's really quick and easy. And then I'll just pick out the silvers and the golds and stuff. But I've got a question, actually. I've got a question for you guys, because I built these up. I've got the heroic Romans, and I got these monstrosities. Are these baddies that they fight against, or are these just weird mutated Romans that help them out?
These are people who have accepted the embrace of the elder gods. I don't think they're good people anymore, are they?
No, they're not. So they are servitors of Mormo.
That's it. I keep saying
So,
Momo.
Momo. Yeah, Momo's a different thing. That's yeah. The isn't that like a rice pudding dessert or something? I know we always talk about food on these painting streams, but it's like, isn't that like a yogurt pot or something? So yeah, there's like while exploring the Germanic forests, I think they've been exposed to a strange mystical eldritch powder that's like
Oh,
had said, it results of powder include side effects of slight tentacleness.
oh no.
And
Increased muscle growth as well, though.
yeah, exactly.
I'm going to segue again fantastically. Jamie's going to love me for this. So you were recently talking because you've done some videos on Frostgrave and Silver
Yes.
Bayonet,
Yes.
which I love those videos. And it was nice seeing you branch out into more like indie stuff. Not that we're indie particularly,
Yeah.
but
You
talked a lot about like solo play and player versus environment.
Yeah.
Now, Cohors Cthulhu Tactics is that it's
Nice.
co-op. It's either solo against AI, co-op AI, as a system. So I think it might be quite interesting.
Yeah,
people looking for that kind of flavour.
It's baffling that I've only become more aware of it, and like I said, like in the chats and stuff like that, that I don't know if it's been around a long time, longer than I realised, and I've just not noticed it, or it seems to be like quite a common new sort of way of playing, which is great because not everyone has a chance to get out and play some games and stuff like that. I don't know if it was like lockdown that made this change or what. I don't remember seeing anything before lockdown about solo play other than like the odd. I'm trying to think back. Silver Tower, I think, was before lockdown, and so was Blackstone Fortress, but that was kind of all right to do on your own, but you'd rather do it with mates anyway. It was more designed for doing it with mates. So yeah, it's really cool just seeing like all these games, and I've had so many people recommending lots of different games to me as well. So yeah, playing with some Romans and some weird tentacle Romans is going to be great. Doing that in your own time with mates or with, because you can do it cooperatively against the environment, or you can just do it on your TARD, can't you?
Yeah,
which is amazing.
Yeah, exactly. What are you up to, Callum?
Do you want to go first, Peachy? Where you're up to?
Yeah, I mean, I've just dry brushed quite heavily, some flesh tones, going up a bit lighter all over the models, and now what I'm going to do is start blocking in some colour. So on this dude with the great thing about like speed paints is it doesn't really matter if I get like things splodged, because I know I'm going to have armour, I know I'm going to have leather. I'll try and be as I can, but I'll try not to get this on his skin, because that is actually where most of my effort was intended, was for the skin. But with this speed paint, all I'm doing now is just going to go over all the clothing. If I get it on his leather, that's fine, because that's going to be a darker colour anyway, so it'll be like black or brown, so it don't really matter if I splodge onto those areas. But yeah, so when this dries, it'll pull away from the edges a bit and give it a nice natural highlight. Like I said, if I want to add a bit more extra effort, I can always highlight it a bit more after, but hopefully, in fact, I might just run that in the cracks there a bit as well.
I've got a question for the speed paints, because typically with contrast, try not to my knife. Same when you speed paints, do you try?
You're right, hang on, you're breaking up a bit there, mate.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Am I back now?
You are.
You are back now, yes.
I was just wondering with the speed paints, because similar products like contrast and that, I try not to use my nicest brushes. I was just wondering, is it the same? Do you employ the same kind of strategy?
No, if I need a nice brush to get into like the nooks and crannies and do a bit of neatness, I'll use my nice brush.
Fair enough.
I've heard this, and I don't know if I'm just a bit of a messy painter or what, but I've never had any issues with my brushes after once I've given them a good clean. So I don't know if I'm just doing it wrong.
A lot of people say you shouldn't use like Kolinsky sable brushes for metallics as well. So
I mean, I've been told I shouldn't use a wet palette for contrasts or metallics, but I do, and it's fine.
Yeah, I've also I don't subscribe to that. But
I think it depends on what people are used to. I mean, because like I say, I've been painting armors for years, so I'm quite dirty and messy initially, and then later on, that's when all the neatness happens. But from a brush maintenance point of view, I've never really noticed my brushes being any worse off than doing it the other way. So I don't know. Never really thought about it. I'm now going to start. I'm going to think about it now until the day I die. Like, am I doing it right? Am I doing it? Oh no!
Welcome to this, which is sponsored by the Spirit of Doubt and Imposter Syndrome.
My second question is, how do the speed paints taste?
They taste all right. There's some paints out there that taste better than others.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I prefer contrast when it comes to taste. Not that you should
sweetness of it.
Yeah, sweet contrast.
I don't know. I don't know
They're
if
all
you have
very
ever
strange people.
I don't know if you've ever used Two Thin Coats, their washers. I think they're probably the sweetest tasting paints I've ever had. They're quite pleasant actually.
I've not tried them. I've not tasted them. I've tried them, but I've not
Yeah.
tasted.
Next event we're at, I'm gonna.
Nice.
Little snack bar. Modiphius would like to state for the record and health and safety reasons
You
that we
shouldn't
do
drink your
not
paint.
endorse ingestion of chemical products. But you guys carry on. Callum,
Steve,
how
I'm
about
up
you?
to-
I'm just
I'm-
looking at you now, Callum, so if you want to talk about anything you're doing, that's cool too.
I'm just getting a second coat on my Berserker Red. I've given several coats, not just Two Thin Coats. I've given several to the
Nice.
skin because I'm working up from black, so it's always going to. If I had used a nice peachy peach spray, it would have probably been quicker for me. But I've just done the standard black, and you're working it from like a dark grey, aren't you?
Me, yeah. If you're not familiar with this story, the reason I use a dark grey and Callum uses a black is because Callum didn't have any dark grey and wanted to see how it turned out, so told me to get the dark grey as an experiment.
Nice.
Typically, if you are trying to paint for speed, you don't start, and this is to peachy, you don't start really dark, do you? 'Cause you've got to work harder to get up.
Yeah, it depends on the colour, I suppose.
Yes.
If you're doing like black armoured warriors, then absolutely. But yeah,
Black
for the
probably
most
is
part,
fine, yeah.
it's a bit, if you're doing white, then yeah, that'll be a lot harder.
Which I have done as well on the Zetans. That was my smartest move. Was starting on black and then have to get up to white armor.
Smart. I like that.
It was yeah, but they came out great. So
They look great.
oh, thanks.
That's what matters. It's the end result, right?
Yeah.
I've been tweaking the camera and I thought it would look better, but it just looks exactly the same. So there we go. Well, I need to. I keep forgetting because I've done the shield off of his body because I didn't need that particular hassle. So I'm painting the shield off his body.
Yeah.
But I keep forgetting about it.
Classic.
So otherwise I'm going to have to keep going back and like going, oh crap, no, he's got a hand on that thing, hasn't he? I better.
I can tell you that happens all the time with the box art models. I'll be like, there we go, I've done the body. Arm. You need
Yeah.
I do that all the time.
It does get a bit much, doesn't it? Gets a bit much when you like got like 12 of them and you're like, oh, that's 12 hands now I've got to paint. Oh, why don't I just glue it on?
Yeah. I definitely, you can tell that Steve's been like, I've been coaching Steve because that's really, but unless you're doing really specific painting, you don't need sub-assembly, do you really? It's probably better if you're trying to get a squad out. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's a few people have asked me many times when I've done like tuition or like, just in general feedback, like, oh, how many sub-assemblies should a model be? And I'm like, well, it's up to you. I mean, if you're doing something for box packaging, you probably want lots of sub-assemblies because you can get in all the nooks and crannies and you can make because even though you might not be able to get your brush in there, the camera can certainly see it.
Yeah.
So it's good to break into sub-assemblies, but most of the time, if it's like a horse and a rider, that's I just painted the edge of my little handle there. Like if it's a horse and a rider, I'll always do the horse and the rider separately, just because I can spray the horse brown, I can spray the rider, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, for the most time, like these guys, like I was like, I'm just going to glue the shield on. It's fine. I've got a couple of like knights where the shield like covers right over their bodies.
Yeah.
Right.
Their hand is actually like on their arm, which is attached to their body.
It's just a shield that's separate. Yeah.
Exactly, yes, that makes more sense. But yeah, like these guys, I was like, oh, I can't be arsed with the hassle. I'll just glue it on because I can easily reach it.
Yeah, they're quite dynamic in that the shield's far out from the body, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I keep drifting up as well.
I thought about it. I was kind of like, I sat there thinking, well, maybe I could. But then also I just thought, well, I haven't got much time and I need to undercoat these guys. So I know I can't, spend too much long because I don't have a garden or anything. So when I have to undercoat, I just go and stand in the middle of the street, away from many cars, and I'm like, psh. And I thought, well, we'll just see how that works out. And I never got around to putting the shields on, but I don't know. I guess it's just whatever feels comfortable, isn't it? If you feel you want to do it, there's no right way, I suppose. You just might add more time or whatever. Yeah,
that's a little bit of extra time. And again, like if you're doing an army, you want to get them done in a night, then don't bother. But yeah, if you want to look pretty like what Callum's doing, then
that's not true.
It is true. It is true. You are a great painter. I'm a messy, fast painter. That is my skill set.
I was going to ask this, but then I noticed you do it as well. Like, kind of like it feels almost natural response for people to go like, oh, you say you're cutting corners, or you like da 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 da. But it's not actually. I think that always implies that it's therefore less work,
Yeah,
or less effort. But it's not. It's not that. It's just it's a different.
Incredibly smart decisions and like really effective time use. Like
Yeah.
I'm almost the opposite in that it doesn't. I mean, I have a deadline, but like it doesn't really matter. I can just go arse about face about how I paint it, and it doesn't matter. But it's really crucial. I think it's way harder to do what you do. I don't like.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with like heavy metal, and when we used to sit in the studio together, I'd look at all their stuff and be like mesmerized, but then they'd look at the stuff that I've done in the short space of time and be mesmerized. So it's definitely a different skill set for sure. And I guess I have a habit of being a bit of an idiot to myself, and like I'm always like, it's not as good as this, or it could have been better, and this, that, and the other. But I do work smarter, I suppose, as opposed to harder. That's for sure.
I mean, that's what it does feel like. I don't want to go too psychological, but it didn't feel like you were like crapping on yourself. But it is that kind of like, it's natural to be self-deprecating about it and be like, oh, look at me, just slapping this on and doing that. And it's like, but like Callum said, it is more about like knowing what you want to get out of it and making the right choices to get to it, and then you're pleased with the result, and that's I think that's really important.
Yeah. I mean, it's like any kind of craft, I suppose. You get some people that are like do things slightly different, a bit more precious over like making a ceramic pot, whereas you get those that work for Royal Crown Derby that make, they bash through all the paint designs, but they still look really, really good. But they've developed these efficiencies and these muscle memories to be able to like paint like 100 designs in an hour, whereas you get like your high-end artists that will be like, well, I'm just going to make this the best paint freehand ever, but it's a one-off. Whereas the Royal Crown Derby folks are like, no, it's got to all look the same, and I've got to make it. I've got to do it by hand, but it's got to all look the same. Got to make a set and this, that, and the other. So different disciplines, I suppose. And it's not like I've seen so many people like liking painting is like, oh, it's just painting toy soldiers, isn't it? It's like, why can't you paint that well? It's like, well, it is. You're right. It is painting toy soldiers, but people approach it in different ways and have different skill sets. So I tend to not judge anybody when it comes to painting, because everyone has a different approach. Everyone has a different style. Everyone has a different ethos. Everyone gets something different out of it as well.
I've just kind of like do a little bit of cloth highlighting on this. Trying to remember what Callum taught me for the other day when we painted we painted these guys who are, oh, he's upside down, look at that, these guys who are like overlords of Mormo. So these are some of the other the other Cohors Cthulhu Tactics minis, and Callum's like, did his usual thing, going, Steve, this is how you're going to do cloth, and I was like, cool. And I listened to half of it. So I'm trying to remember the other half. But I've also realised I've made the traditional error of not realising he's wearing sandals. So I've had to go back and paint his feet in between the sandal straps. Because I was like,
I don't bother. I never bother.
I was just like,
I did
hang
have to
on.
go back as well. I missed it. I missed his leather sandals.
I'm used to like people wearing chunky fantasy boots and
just do it. Chunky fantasy boots. Yeah,
well,
just do it.
I could, but unfortunately, that encouragement is about 10 minutes too late because I've already gone back and tried to redo it. But we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Oh dear, that's a bit too much. There we go. Take that off.
But, I am slapping a flesh wash down right now, Steve.
Let's have a look at Callum then.
I mean, it's up to. I just meant for your own reference point of where you wanna, if you wanted to head in this direction. It's sometimes for box art. It depends. I don't always use washes on skin. It depends how quickly I kind of want to establish light values and stuff in the shadows and that. Because otherwise, I would, as we were mentioning earlier, I'd probably just mix up glaze and do it. But that's not super time effective. It can take a long time. And for the most part, you can get very similar. It's slightly less controlled, but it's it gives
Yeah.
you all shapes and a
Yeah.
nice shadow, and you can use it to tint it as well.
Yeah.
It's
I think I need to get in the habit of not. I don't know what the word is. I sometimes think oh, I'm done now. All I need to do is add a wash or a glazer in it, and then all of a sudden I'm darkening everything up too much.
yeah.
I keep getting in the habit of. I need to get out of the habit of doing that, I should say. I'm going to drink some more coffee. That'll surely help. I've got my shield. It's red on the front because that's the colour of the armour. Do they have wooden backs? Are they metal backs?
That's a great question.
I was going to do my dark or like a black or a brown or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tricky one because I think because you got silver. Say if I was going to use my colour theory head, because you got like silvers and reds, you probably want something that's darker so it pops out. So like a black or a dark brown, because then it will frame everything else. Because you've probably got gold going around the edges and stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to have that. So like maybe like a slightly warm.
Yeah, because if I use that brown I've got on his sandals, I think that'll be too sort of like soft. So I'm going to go like a dark brown, I think, or a black for the panel.
I think I'll do that now because then I can break out all of my browns and then go into the metallics, and I won't have to change my water too much.
Nice.
Because I'm lazy.
I'm currently for where we are, check in. I'm glazing Sanguine Scarlet down.
You glazing?
Some kind of contrast, from the Berserker Red at the top and the more stark, brighter Sanguine Scarlet at the bottom. And I'll probably just keep doing that. I'm also adding a little bit of microtexture just because that's my go-to.
Nice.
If we're looking Sanguine Scarlet, it's close to the Piston Workshop or what's the Army Painter equivalent? They've got it written down on their sheet.
Oh, I can't remember. I'm still getting my head around all these different paints, to be fair.
Yeah.
There's so many brands.
It's nice to have that kind of range because I hope it pushes competition.
Yes, agreed. Yeah, it's good to see like lots of different companies doing different things, and like almost like not a war of escalation, but almost like you're right, like the competition side of it. So we've got to, because like Contrast, I think definitely did that, because then you got like Malay doing Express, you got Army Painter doing speed paint, so that there's more options for people to pick from. It's great.
If we're to put our capitalist heads on, more companies is good.
I'm just washing my guy at the moment, just getting some black. So I've done it on the red as well. Had a little bit of depth in there. So he's my test model for the moment. So I knew what I was going to do with the flesh. I knew what I was going to do with the red. I just wanted to make sure I was happy with the silvers and the browns and stuff. So he's just
amazing.
Add a wash. I'm just going to put some peachy flesh. Some peachy flesh on my paint. That's going to go on his skin. What I did do the other day, I'll just show if you don't mind me sharing the gangs of.
No.
It's absolutely fine. We're not very strict on stuff like that. Don't worry.
We know that other things exist in the world. It's okay.
We like acknowledging it.
That's good. So he's following the same ethos as this guy. So he's been sprayed the flesh colour, and I've just used peachy flesh on him. I know he's wearing it's me in a nappy. It's a good look.
He's very shiny. He's like got a very sweaty sheen to him, hasn't he?
I might get some more gloss on him.
He's all right, oiled up.
Look at me, I'm all oiled up. So this guy is the same, but I've used a different wash to try and make him look more olive skinned. So it's like an ochre kind of wash.
It does read differently, yeah.
And then this one is the exact same process, except I've just used something called Warrior. What is it called? What's the skin called? Warrior Skin. So this is a speed paint. I've just done a couple of coats of Warrior Skin. So everything else is the same process. The reds are the same. It started off with the same flesh tone, dry brushed up. I've just used different speed paints over the top to try and give different skin tones. So I'll do that with the same with these guys once I've. So he'll get peachy flesh, and the other ones will have a bit of a mix. But I've got to let gravity do its work now and go on what I call watch and just watch this not pooling too much. So
I'm really happy you showed that, actually, because that's a really great tip. That's a really great peachy tip right there.
Peachy tip. Nice.
But no, it's true about, like, you don't have to just base coat 4 different colours. You can just own what you've already done with those.
Yeah,
really...
yeah. And you know what I like about these, and I'm always worried that this is going to sound like an insult, because it's the same thing I've been saying with Frostgrave and Stargrave miniatures, is they are detailed but not covered in detail.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. And I like that because it's a nice canvas for painting. I don't have to, this is the thing that's been getting me with like workshop minis, is they are beautifully sculpted models, but it's coming to the point now they become like pieces of art, as opposed to wargaming figures, which is kind of, their function is like pieces on a tabletop to play war games with. And don't get me wrong, I want my characters to look as badass as they possibly can, but I want my rank and file to be easy to paint and be able to get like lots of them done in an evening or whatever. And what I really like about these is they've got the detail there, but it's large areas of like cloth and large areas of armor and large areas of skin, but that skin doesn't have like a million sort of like veins and details and like straps and stuff, and like the armor isn't like completely mingled in with rosary beads and 1,000 different like trinkets and stuff like that. So I'm loving them. I think that's what I'm trying to get at.
Nice.
It's one of those, because this is our own IP and our own license.
Ooh.
Specifically because we obviously, if you're unfamiliar, Modiphius wheel and Elder Scrolls Call to Arms miniatures as well. But they are like referencing assets made for a video game, and so we have to shoot as close as we can. When sculpting. So it's nice to kind of be creatively free to kind of approach it from more of a tabletop aspect, as you say, and get that kind of old detail on there.
Yeah,
that's what I like about these guys. They're slightly sort of over enhanced. Like they've got these ridiculously large, kind of almost cartoonish sort of chins, and they look kind of like. I think the thing that was part of the plan and the brief was to say they should be both as historically accurate as possible, but at the same time it should look like what would happen if you had like a D&D party in that Roman setting, where it'd be like, they are wearing the correct armor, but look on the triceps on that guy or whatever, just like be a bit kind of like crazy. That's why they're not all necessarily, like some of the legionaries, shock horror, aren't wearing a helmet, or things like that. And it's like, well, you might have dropped yours too if you met, a Cthulhu monster. That's kind of the thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean they've got a Slain vibe as well. So like the Romans from Slain, if you ever read the comics of that. So it's like that, like you say, it's heroic as opposed to being like historically accurate. I'm all about that. And obviously, if we're going to do like historical accuracies, I'm not sure if my facts are 100% correct here, but Romans work well as a unit. As an individual, not so good. Like that's why they form like massive sort of like walls of spears and shields, because they as a unit they're great, but get a Roman on his own with a Gaul, chances are the Gaul's probably going to end up besting that Roman.
That's looking excellent, Peachy. That looks really good.
Thank you. I'm just slapping on some colour, getting some washes on, doing what I like doing. I mean, they're not going to win me awards right now, not yet. Give it another hour. That's a joke. It would need a lot more than an hour. I'm really enjoying painting them. I want to see what else there is as well, so I'm gonna get myself a little warband sorted. Might do some other guys in different coloured suits. I've not even touched these dudes.
No. To be fair, I thought like we were going to tackle some of those, and because we'd leave you to the legionaries, but I'm just really sold on these sculpts. I saw them. I was like, I want to give them a.
Yeah, same. Yeah. I thought I'd get them all built and sprayed, and then I've got choices.
Yeah, exactly.
Go heavy on this, but I'm probably going to try and do a little bit of weathering on the shield, because it's just too big an area to not do something.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like super rusty, but I might just fade a little bit.
I'm going to do a little bit of checking to see, because like with certain like sets like Victrix and Griffin Beast and stuff like that, you can get like transfers for like Roman shields and Dark Age shields. I'd be interested to see if they'd work on it. Alternatively, I might go for the later Roman Empire where they have the P with a cross on it. So I could always do that, because that's easier to freehand than the rest, like the lightning bolts and whatever else is on them.
Oh god, yeah. No, I'm not. This guy is not getting anything painted on his shield. He's just like fresh out of shield factory. He's getting nothing else. Just the basic bog standard version. Well, he might get a bit of, like I said, a bit of where would the weathering at? Probably maybe at the bottom more.
Yeah, Romans is not something I'd normally, go out my way to paint, but it seems like the last month I've got Warlord sending me some Hail Caesar stuff. I've got some Gangs of Rome, and then there's these guys. I'm like, I've become full on Roman in the last month.
It's all coming up Rome.
Yeah, it's all coming up Rome. When in Rome. But yeah, it's great.
When everyone talks about Hail Caesar, I always wonder briefly if there's like a minis game based on the Coen Brothers movie, which would be amazing. But I don't know if it's quite what it's all chalked up to be.
What, the game or the film?
No, I don't think a minis game based on that would be the thing.
Coen Brothers.
All right, so I've got 5 done. In some at various stages. So I'll pull this guy up for the minute because he's like the one I've done. He was my test model, so he's had a couple of highlights on his robes as well. I've just tidied the armor back up a little bit. I just need to obviously do some bits to his face and stuff. But it might seem like there's like hardly any skin now. Why did you spray him skin, Peachy? What was that about? Well, actually, it's made it a lot easier with the leather. It's made it a lot easier with the red. So anything that actually isn't skin, was never going to be skin, was the armor. But that's not the majority of the model. And using that red, slaughter red speed paint over the skins actually had a nice effect. I mean, yeah, I've added some highlights to it as an option. That's like the next steps. But
it's a really nice bold red. That it's just lovely.
Yeah, I mean, it's got like a bit of dirtiness to it as well, and it works for me. So the rest of the guys are kind of like at various stages. They've all been washed, but I'm just like starting to like highlight bits up now and like do stuff for the shields and things, and try and like tie them up a little bit where I may have made a mistake here and there. They've been had the washes and the base coats, and if you're playing a game and you're happy enough with that, you can just leave them at that, because the washing has done a lot of the legwork for you. You don't have to highlight them, and that's the beauty of paint. You can just get some colours on, block them in, wash it all over, and then done. And like you see, the wash has gone in all the cracks. It's lined all the edges for me. It's done all the hard work. I don't have to do that. But yeah, I've got 5 done. Happy enough with them.
Nice. Cool, amazing. Really, really lovely work.
If you can see them quite clearly, I don't know. There we go.
Yeah, I mean that's like enough for a little unit, because you can go into this game with like 3. 3 and a hero. That's good enough for a unit. So like you said earlier, you can pick him up and be like, I don't want the guy with the guy who's got his helmet. What a chump. So
yeah.
Come into that.
He's my favourite. You can't call him that. He heard that. He's going to get sad now.
It's fine. It's fine. He was the first to die in my game. I was like, well, you clearly didn't prepare this very well.
Not an helmet.
Yeah. Rather than leave me to last, because I'm not proficient enough, I'll go next. So I've just stealthily bashed this shield on while Peachy's showing his. So I painted that separately. Yeah, he's come out all right. I mean, he's still masking a little bit of detail. I haven't done the eyes or anything on his face. He looks quite terrifying and skeletal from that angle, if I'm being brutally honest. Like proper zombie. But yeah, I quite like just like the sort of the simple colour approach. I'm not too worried about this, and obviously why I didn't get too much done, but I will happily finish him off. I'm going to put a little bit of colour in his mouth, I think, and give him some eyeballs so he can see. Paint the little rock he's standing on, and then base him up, because that's kind of fun. But I don't know why. I was kind of like looking forward to doing the shield. I know that's a really weird thing to say, just like a big blob of bland colour, but I think it's because I'm used to painting so far a lot of Fallout things, which they're quite grubby. And I know I could make this guy quite grubby too. Like he's been stomping around in the mud in Germania and he's got a bashed up shield. But I don't know, I just felt like I wanted to do him a bit more clean. So
something clean.
I'm pleased with how that's come out, if I can get a focus on him. But yeah. Callum, let's have a look at your work.
for Peachy, these will our feeds. You're probably looking at them upside down in Discord.
Yeah.
Upside down.
It's all corrected in the post magic.
But yeah, I managed to get like skin base coated. I got like all my highlights and stuff, and some scratches on the reds that I wanted to get for the skirt section. And I managed to do the face mostly. I still want to. But I did my eyes and some highlights on the skin.
Look at that grin. He loves it. He loves life.
Can you read better on that, maybe?
I think it's working out okay. Color balance is pretty good on your camera.
Yeah, it's a wicked grin. So I kind of want to focus on the expression a bit more, make his eyes a bit more.
Oh yeah, that guy. Yeah, I've got him. Yeah, he's got.
I love that pose.
He's good. Style. He's kind of really leaning forward. You can always like put him on the edge of stuff when he's attacking things. He looks great. But magic.
So yeah, I honestly had a lot of fun. We'll paint something on stream, and sometimes I'll be like, I really want to finish that, or like that was probably enough for me. I've I fill this one. I'm kind of sad. I know we've got to stop, but
we do. Yeah, but I think that's fine. But,
I mean, if I didn't have editing to do, I would stay.
No worries, man. I appreciate it. So like I said, if you are watching this on YouTube, there is a full unedited length where we talk it's mostly just probably nonsense we're talking. But if you want to check that out, come back to Kickstarter and you can get the link to that there. Otherwise, thank you very much to Peachy for joining us. Please
keep having me.
Please, he whacks his own microphone. Please do the push. Tell people where they can find you and anything else you want to say.
Oh, I think I'm rubbish at. Okay, cool, wicked. So yeah, I have a YouTube channel. It's called Peachy Tips. So yeah, I tend to do a lot of. It's a mix at the minute of paint guides and just talking head stuff about things I like and hobby. And there's paint guides in that. Also, we have a little podcast, me, Louise Sugden, and Rob Symes, called Jugs. Don't think too much about the name. Just
you guys clearly didn't, so that's okay.
No, Louise did. I didn't. Rob didn't. So yeah, I have Instagrams and Twitters and stuff like that. But yeah, I just paint stuff. I like painting stuff. I'm really rubbish at self promotion.
Hey, no, you're doing a good job. I've asked people that before, and they just they can't remember their own website or what social media is. They're just like, "Am I on social media? Come and friend me on friend bucket or whatever it's
friend bucket.
Just like." But no, so it's cool. It's been lovely hanging out with you, man. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for watching. Hope you found something entertaining or informative or a combination of both. If you want to hang out with me and Callum more, we can be found normally the first Friday of every month. We do a stream on twitch.tv/Modifius. Otherwise, please do all the usual things of liking things and subscribing to things, because it just makes my upcoming appraisal much easier.
Much easier.
I'm hitting those targets. But yeah, thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you soon. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.